Hello, welcome to the Brick Township High School Safe Restart Plan for the 2020-2021 school year. My name is Bill Kleisler and I am the building principal here at Brick Township High School. During the last several months, the central office administrators of Brick Township Public Schools, along with the Brick Township administrators and staff, have been working diligently to put together a plan for a safe restart of the Brick Township Public Schools. I'd like to share with you a little bit of what we have been doing here at Brick Township High School to get ready for September 8th when we welcome our students back to Brick Township High School. Over the next couple of moments, I hope to share with you some slides that answer some of your questions that you've been asking and that we also have been saying we'll have to get back to you on that. So as we begin the opening of the school in September for September 8th, some general health and safety guidelines I'd like to share with you. Now, most of these items are probably what you've been expecting or what you've been experiencing if you've been out in the public food shopping, to the bank, or you may have been at a restaurant or maybe perhaps even the beach. We will be temperature screening everyone before they enter school. I'm going to ask and plead for everyone to screen themselves prior to even leaving your home, so that you can determine if you have had a fever before you even get to school or in contact with others. Staff and students will be required to wear masks at all time. Items that may have been forgotten at home, we're going to have a very difficult time getting items to others because we do not want to have hand-to-hand or personal contact with other items. So we're going to say that no items can be dropped off during the school day. Our medication for students, we're going to work with our nurses to coordinate an effort on Fridays to do pickup or drop off of medication. If you're a visitor to the building, we are going to do everything possible to not have visitors in the building unless it is through a scheduled appointment with the administration or one of the adults and say the guidance staff or one of the teachers. For students, our water fountains are not going to be used. They will be shut down so that we do not have any germs spread by the use of a water fountain. We're going to follow social distancing guidelines that you probably are used to. Maintain 6 feet distance when you're in the halls and common areas. This is probably the greatest challenge, and we really need to work together in order to make this one benefit all of us in a safe manner. So we're going to use directional flow within the building and have one-way traffic here at the high school. It's going to be quite a challenge in itself, but we need people to not walk in groups. So what's going to be the hardest thing? Well, to be perfectly honest with you, the hardest thing for me is going to be welcoming back 125 staff members next week that I haven't seen since March. And to not walk up to them and give them a hug or a handshake or a high five or some kind of bodily contact to let them know, I've really missed you. We need the students to do the same. We need to make sure that we're not getting together in certain areas of the building. You're used to sitting in a certain hallway or outside of a locker, mingling with your friends. That's going to be discouraged. It's not because we don't care about you, quite the opposite. It's because we do. And we need to make sure that we are not standing in a group, because what happens when you're in a group, you start to close the gap and you're no longer 6 feet of safe distancing. So we'll work on that together. But again, you can expect that to be the norm here in the building. We're going to ask that you use your own pen or pencil and you don't share with anybody else. That goes for your laptop device. You're responsible for the laptop device that you're going to get as far as cleaning it and bringing it to school and having it charged. You don't want to use a pen or pencil from somebody else when you're going to fill out a pass to, say, the bathroom or to one of the offices. If you do have any questions for the students, if students have a question, we're going to ask that you ask your teacher. They're going to spend a lot of time in the first couple of days going over all of this. And if you're one of the adults that have a question, a parent has a question, feel free to contact me or anybody here at the high school over the summer, whether it's email or by phone. We are here. I believe most of your questions will be answered through the remainder of this video. So probably the number one question that I've had from people is, what's it going to look like when you get to school? What actually is going to happen? How are you going to know if somebody is ill or if somebody is possibly symptomatic with COVID? Well, we have a procedure in place. Like I said, it starts off with the temperature screen. If you are screened and you come up with a temperature of 100 or greater, We're going to have you screened additionally by the school nurse. And if the school nurse finds you to be symptomatic, then you're going to be not just sent home, but you're going to be sent home and required to be evaluated by your healthcare professional. And anyone who's come in contact with this person is also going to be sent home. And we're going to require all of those people to be quarantined for the required number of days. A symptomatic individual can only return with a note from the doctor. So if somebody is sent home because they have a 100-degree fever and they see their doctor and the doctor determines that they are okay to return, then we're going to bring that person back as long as they have the doctor's note and they've been fever-free for 72 hours. However, if that is not the case, if they are positive for COVID, then that is going to initiate a chain reaction to those people that have been in close contact, and they're going to be quarantined for an additional 14 days, and they're now going to have to go out and see their healthcare provider. And we're basing this on the information that has been available up through till the end of August. If things change, we will certainly change that plan. But as of the beginning of the school year, this is the guidance that we have from the healthcare offices, the state, and local boards. I also want to make note that anybody with a 100-degree fever, whether it's COVID related or not, you shouldn't be in school or at work. That's not something new. That is really supposed to be common sense, but I know we all kind of, I feel a little bit good. I take some medication and the fever goes away, and then I come into school. We really need to avoid that in these times for the beginning of the school year so we can continue to be here. Health and safety guidelines. We're going to be cleaning the building on a regular basis. We have new equipment, new procedures. Our maintenance staff and custodial staff has been working diligently over the last couple of months. The ventilation and airflow systems are in place and active here at the high school. We feel confident as we return with our students. On a side note, should someone in an area be sent out for testing, we have to close down that area for a period of 24 hours, and then it gets cleaned, and then we bring everybody back. So I think what I'm going to ask everyone to be is a little bit flexible as we begin this school year. We are going to start off with certain rooms we're going to use, and then due to guidelines, we may have to move a classroom to a different one as we prepare for testing. We've got a lot of different what-if scenarios and procedures and plans that are in place to use if we need them. Hopefully we don't. But if anything, the last couple of months has taught us, it's been flexibility is going to help us get through whatever changes are coming our way. The daily schedule. Well, daily schedule is easy and a little bit challenging at the same time. So what I'll start off with is your scheduled times on the left-hand column over here. Basically, what we're going to do is we show up to school between 6:50, we open the doors, we come into the building, regardless of whether you're a driver, you got dropped off, or you took the bus. 7:15 to 8:45 is the first block of the day. 8:50 to 10:20 is the second block. And then the students are going to be dismissed where they can grab their lunch, go to the bus, or just go to the bus and go home. There's a travel time put in place until about 11:15 where we hope that everyone is getting their lunch. And then at 11:30, we're going to rejoin the teachers for their afternoon block and a second afternoon block from 12:40 to 1:40. So to fill in the times, based on the day of the week, the times are going to stay the same, but the days of the week will change. You're all assigned to a team. I have listed on here 4 teams. There's actually 9 teams at Brick Township High School because teams 5 through 9 are specific to vocational students only. So for this daily schedule, we're not necessarily showing the Voc students on there within their teams, but the times are going to remain the same. And I'll go over vocational school a little bit later. But on Mondays, we will start off with block 1 and 2. We'll go home and then finish with 3 and 4. On Tuesday, we'll start off with blocks 3 and 4, and then go home and follow up after lunch with blocks 1 and 2. And we cycle through. Wednesday is a 3-4 with a 1-2 afternoon. And we finish on Thursday with the same as block 1 and 2, same as what we had done on Monday. And you can see in the green color coding, the green color is the same. So Monday and Wednesdays are team 1, 2, 3, and 4 students. And on Tuesday and Thursdays, it's teams 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the reason why it's color coded a little bit different is if you notice brick and click. If you're a brick student, that means you are in Brick Township High School. Made of concrete, it's a brick. So that means you are in a brick and mortar for your in-person blocks 3 and 4. Your click teams are going to be home working remotely. You're clicking on the computer. That would be teams 1 and 3. So we'll continue through Monday through Thursday with this scenario. The important thing to realize is if I am at home and I am a team 1 person on Tuesday, this will be the first day we're starting with on the 8th. It will be a Tuesday. So we're going to start off with blocks 3 and 4. If I'm on team 2 or team 4, I know I'm in the building. So I'm going to go right to block 3. If I'm a team 1 or a team 3, that means I'm virtual for the day. I'm on a click scenario. So you're going to still go to block 3 and 4, but not in school. You're going to do it from home, but the times are the same. This is a little bit different than what we did. Well, maybe it's a lot different than what we did in the springtime. You are required to be in your classes, whether you are in brick and mortar or you are home virtually clicking with the computer. On Fridays, we are all going to be virtual. And on Fridays, we're going to follow a slightly different time schedule. This is your chance to sleep in during the school day. We're going to start off with block 1 at 9 o'clock. We're going to go it's going to be about an hour for each of those classes. And we're going to finish with a block 4 class by 12:15. So as we do these classes on Friday, you're all going to be remote. You're all going to be working with your teachers, and attendance will be taken throughout the entire week. I just want to point out to a select few students, this does not relate to everyone, but you may hear this term. We have students, mostly upperclassmen, that have a class at Brick Township High School. It's during block 2 that is on an A day or a B day. If your class is on an A day or a B day, we're going to work off of the week will always be that letter. So we're going to open up September 8th with an A week. So anyone with an A class during their block 2, you'll report to that teacher's class for your block 2 during that A week. The following week, we will make it a B week, and you'll report to your block 2 class for your B teacher. And again, we can go over these questions on the first day of school. So there are basically 9 teams, as I mentioned. This is up here. You can look at it at a later time, but please keep in mind, virtual Friday. Our hybrid model is that you are in person, but we also have students that are virtual. So your team 3V is virtual, team 1 and team 2 mean that you are all brick and mortar here at Brick Township High School. And team 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is vocational school. I will say this to all the parents and students that are out there. If you right now are not aware of your team and you do not see it on Parent Portal, as you're reading this, Parent Portal should be opened up for your viewing already. Give a call over to the school and we'll assist with letting you know what team you are on. We certainly can get that information to you long before September 8th begins. As I mentioned, your A and B classes will be the week of. So we're going to begin the first 2 weeks of the school year. The first week is going to be students with an A class. It'll be called an A week. On 9/14, we'll shift gears and go to a B week. Again, this does not come into play for the majority of the students that are in the building. You'll know if you're in an A/B class by looking at your schedule. I'm going to give you some communication codes for our classes. Each of the graduating classes, have a Google Classroom code. You can feel free to join in now with it, utilizing your Google email account for Brick Township High School, Brick Township Schools actually, and the SGA down here at the bottom. As I mentioned, the attendance policy and procedures are still in place. So we still will be following unexcused absences. You can lose credit for exceeding 10 unexcused absences to class. So punctuality still matters, whether you're in a brick and mortar or if you are virtual. So teachers will be taking attendance. We will be communicating with moms and dads to let them know if their sons and daughters are not in the classes as they're supposed to be. Your teachers will be reaching out, your guidance counselor will be reaching out, and your administrators will be reaching out. Please keep in mind, though, you are expected to be in class at the right time, whether you're brick and mortar or virtual from home. Arrival procedures. Let me move this down here. So our arrival procedures. Doors are going to open up at 6:50, and we're going to utilize 5 locations to receive students. It's going to be in the east rear by the gym, in the nurse's office. It's going to be in the front by the east office, directly across from the Brick Township Ocean County Library. We are then going to open up the main office, and we're going to have a door on the side by the main office, but not in the west parking lot. We're going to try to keep traffic out of the west parking lot, and we will have one in the south office. I will go over in a little better detail in the next couple of slides who's reporting where and what we're doing. But you can expect temperature screening to be done at the vestibule when you walk in, or with a handheld device before you even enter the building. Right? And when you get to the building, you need to go directly to your class. You cannot circle around the building and meander and find your friends. Like I said, I don't want to be cold in the beginning of the year, but this is not a normal circumstance for our return, so we cannot have students mingling and joining in groups outside of their classroom. You've got to get to your classroom as quickly as possible. If you're going to arrive on the buses are going to utilize the back of the building near the sports fields. We will use one of the 2 doorways, either 14 or 23. We will be going onto the buses. We will be doing a temperature screen on the bus, and then we will bring you into the building. If there is an issue with anyone before they get off the bus with the temperature, we'll go over the temperature screening with the school nurse for a follow-up. 23 and 14. So when we anyone that is dropping off 23 and 14, this is specifically for the buses. And if it's I see. Sorry about that. I lost my train of thought here. Door number 1, which is the main office. So I'm going to talk a little bit to the parents that drop their sons and daughters off to the building or pick up their sons and daughters. We really need to improve the traffic flow through the building on a normal basis, but certainly due to all the moving parts and coordinating the effort to get people back into the building. Parents, you will not be able to utilize the horseshoe, the rounded parking lot, rounded driveway in the front of the building for the drop-off of students. It's going to be blocked off for a select group of buses to utilize door number 1. So you will not be able to gain access. I think it's on the next slide. Yeah, so the parent pickup and drop-off. So in our best effort to try to draw a diagram of what we're going to do, we're going to utilize the east office for the parent pickup and drop off. The easiest way to describe what we're going to ask you to do is, if you are picking up and dropping off, we're going to ask you to drive past the school marquee on Chambers Bridge Road and enter the last entrance to Brick Township High School. This is the entrance you would take if you're driving up to the football field or if you're going to drive around the back of the building. While you're in there, we'll have our security guards directing you to the right traffic flow, but we're going to try to draw, we're trying to snake as many cars through as we can until we line up to drop off at the side of the east office. You will have somebody come out to the car if you're a parent dropping off your child, because we'll do a temperature screen before they even leave the car. And if they're fine, they'll come on out. If they're not, we'll go over with you what you need to do with the nurse. But if you could work with us and not attempt to pull into the horseshoe in the front of the building and recognize that the east parking lot is the entrance for you, if you could stay in your car as you're dropping through, please keep in mind, we're not letting students into the building until 6:50. I know how many cars are out in the front on a normal school day. We're going to do everything possible to get you off Chambers Bridge Road safely and into that parking lot awaiting the drop-off for your son and daughter. Parking on campus. So this year, because we do not have as many students in the building on a given day, we believe we're going to have enough parking spaces for anyone who is 17. So we're asking the students that are 17, get your parking permit the right way, get your parking sticker, and you're going to have a parking space on the campus. We are not assigning parking spaces to our students. We'll enforce the parking procedure, but we're not going to require you to have a numbered spot. But this is what will make it easy for you, because not every student that drives has a first block or the early block class. You may be a late arrival student. And when you arrive to school, you may not have somebody standing at the doors to get in. The back of the building by the East Gym and the South office, you will not be able to enter those doors as a student. So we're going to ask for you not to park in the back of the building. Even if you're parking there because it's close to your class or not, we're going to ask that you use the east parking lot or the west parking lot. And if you are there, you're going to walk into door number 1 from the west, or you're going to walk into door 34 from the east. Again, we're going to ask for you not to go into the back so that we can get you into the building. You will have to be screened before you enter the building. If you still have not received your parking permit, or you're turning 17 sometime soon, you can get your permit packet on the school website. Breakfast. So we are still serving breakfast, and breakfast will be served in cafeteria 3. We are going to allow students that are purchasing breakfast to come in, quickly eat, and when they're done, report to their first period class. We'll be cleaning that area before arrival and after the students leave. If you are utilizing the breakfast system, we are not giving change if you give cash. It has to be exact change, or you can use your account. So if you have not yet signed up for an account, please go to the homepage for the cafeteria, open up an account, and then you front load however much money or funding you wish to put in there. But again, breakfast will be served in cafeteria 3. I want to give a word of caution. Unfortunately, you can't bring a guest with you. You have to be a guest that is actually purchasing breakfast. We cannot stay in there longer than we need to, and there is a capacity on how many kids can be there. So you can expect us to send you away very nicely if you're there with others just to kind of hang out with your friends. Your friends have to get to class. Again, we need to do the best we can with these procedures. Lunch. Lunch is going to be a grab and go option. Cafeteria 1 and 2 will be a cold lunch, and cafeteria 3 will be a hot lunch. We are asking that you do a pre-order through food services on our Brick Schools website. If you do the pre-service, it's going to be quicker and allow you to go right in and right out to the buses. If you are getting lunch, you have to get your lunch and walk right out to the bus, and it's expected that you will eat that lunch when you get home. They will be pre-packaged for you, and they will be packaged in a way that allows you to do it just like a takeout service at a restaurant. If you're paying by cash, again, no change will be given. Lockers and locker rooms. We are not utilizing lockers and locker rooms this year, or at least for the duration of the hybrid model. So you do not have access to your locker. You will not be given a locker. If a student needs to get into their locker because they left some things in there from last year, we will coordinate that with you at a later time when we get you into the building. We'll work on what we can and cannot do, but to begin the school year, we cannot have you at a locker at this time. If you're in phys ed classes for your first semester, please dress appropriately with clothing and footwear that would be worn to go outside and participate in a class outside. Phys ed classes, we're going to try to get you outside as often as possible with the opportunity to possibly remove the mask for a break while you are outside. The teachers will go over with you what the requirements are to do that. Please keep in mind one thing. If you have been at Brick Township High School before, your phys ed classes, you would always report to a gym. That is not going to be the case this time around. Please look at your schedule. Most phys ed classes are going to a classroom first. So you will report to that room number that is on your list, on your schedule, before you go to phys ed. Hallway traffic and passing time. Well, we're going to do our best effort to get this up and running as quickly as possible. If you see the red lines that are in here, this is the traffic pattern around the building. So yes, we do expect you to do one-way traffic. So when you enter the building in the back from the buses, to get up to the main office, you have to walk all the way down the 200s and down the 30s or the 20s hallway. If you are upstairs, please keep in mind, there are going to be directional staircases to go up and to come down. We are asking that you follow these precisely so that we can maintain the 6-foot distancing in the building. Those traffic patterns are primarily during passing time. If you are in a class and there's only 1 or 2 people in the hallway, we may be able to work on a system where you can go to that location without following the one-way traffic, but we're going to have to see really to see how that works and to see if we're doing it well enough. I think we probably will be by the time we practice this for a few times. Reasons to leave the classroom, it's not going to be easy to leave. We do not want a lot of people moving, but obviously if there's an emergency. The nurse's office, scheduled appointment, you get called by an administrator or a guidance counselor, or to use the restroom. You can use restrooms. We are not going to open restrooms during passing time, and we are going to do frequent cleaning of the bathrooms. So they are going to be locked periodically. We will have a staff member out front, and we can only allow students in on a limited basis because you have to still be 6-foot spacing even in the restrooms. So we will have a spot for you to stand. When it's your turn, you can walk in, and we will have more bathrooms open than we normally do to begin the school year. Passes, you will need a pass when you are in the hallway, and it'll be your responsibility to fill it out, and we will throw it out when you arrive where you need to go. Again, hallway traffic during class, you're only going to be able to use a bathroom where someone is monitoring 1 student at a time. And the stairwells will be posted with signage that lets you know if it's an up or a down. Student IDs, we're going to ask that you locate your student IDs. The wearing of masks puts an extra emphasis on the need to know who we are seeing and who we are dealing with. So please, if you have not looked at your ID in several months, please find them and start bringing them to school. If you have your own lanyard, please bring your own lanyard. If you are a 9th grade student or a new student, the ID that you had from last year at Lake Riviera, if you have an ID, we at least know that you're a BRIC student with a picture. We will be working on getting the new IDs in your hands as soon as possible. As you know, student IDs, personal IDs are items that you are going to be using if you don't use them already. Those of you at work probably already recognize that you use them all the time, but please look for them. We will work with our 9th grade and new students getting new IDs as soon as possible and replacing anyone who may have lost theirs as soon as possible. Vocational schedule. I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Here's what the model shows you. There are 4 models for vocational school. Those 4 models, the green means you are in person. So that's a brick and mortar class. So you will, for example, an AM vocational student that is full virtual, they're going to go every day to vocational school in the morning. Their afternoon classes, because AM Voc ends around 10:30, your afternoon classes, when you go home to your home, you're going to have virtual classes. So you're going to have to check in. But 3-4 is your actual class. So we're doing on a Monday, it's block 1 and 2. You don't have one, you're in Voc. On Monday, it's the afternoon block 3 and 4. That's your class. You have to check in at that same time. It's synchronous. Your attendance is being taken. On Tuesday, when you get done with your AM Voc, the class that's being offered is block 3 and 4. So you're going to be virtual attendance, but you're not necessarily going to have to be in attendance for that. You're going to be working remotely. On Fridays, for all vocational students, regardless of what program you go to, you can go to vocational school on Fridays. However, you have to get your own transportation to Brick Township High School. You get your own transportation here. There will be a bus at the normal time that takes you to your vocational program, brings you back to Brick Township High School for your vocational program, and then you have to secure your own ride to those programs. So vocational, AM vocational option 2, PM vocational option 1, and option 2 will be up on the website for you to view. You can press pause and look at it, or it has already been sent to you and it's on a slide on Brick Township High School's homepage with the slide for the team that you're on. And full voc option 2. All right, dismissal procedures. So dismissal procedures at this point is going to be done via intercom. And we have a plan in place that will make an announcement on what sections or what purpose the people are leaving the building. So we know we want to get some students to the lunchroom and we want to get them on the bus. If you are not going to the lunchroom to get food, you should be going immediately to your parents for pickup, to your car for dismissal, or to the school bus to get on the school bus. Again, we cannot have people hanging around the building. You have to get into the building where you need to go, and you need to get out of the building where you need to go. If you are a lunch person, you'll go to lunch first. For parents with the drop-off, for the pickup, we may have to allow the students to leave a little bit later in order to dismiss the buses. We will, truthfully, it's a work in progress at this point. We're going to begin with just the staggered effect. So if you are on the phone with your son and daughter, I'm sure they can send you a text when they're on their way to see you in your car. And you will park in the same East parking lot at this point, like you would have for the drop-off. If you've traveled recently, you're supposed to be reporting what states you have traveled to. There is still a quarantine in place. If you click the link that is on here at the bottom, it'll take you to the quarantine states. Again, it's a live document, so it changes, not so much day to day, but certainly week to week. But you are supposed to stay home for 14 days after traveling or visiting that state. With vacations the way they are, some people are still have the opportunity to travel, dropping sons and daughters off or siblings off to college. You may have been somewhere else in another state. Please keep in mind you still need to follow those guidelines. So some tips for continued success. Charge your laptop every night. I can assure you that even doing this video, I've had to do it twice because the battery on my charge battery was not optimal, and I had to redo the video. So please make sure you charge your laptop every night. Speaking of laptops, every student is getting a laptop device. If you weren't aware of that, let me be the first to explain that you are getting a laptop device with a charger. Please make sure it's charged and bring it to school every day. Please make sure you check your temperature and don't leave your house without checking. If you have a 100 fever, please do not come to school. If you required medication to keep that fever down, you should not be coming to school. If you're going to order lunch, we encourage you to do it on the website if applicable. If you can do it on the website, it's certainly going to make things quicker when you grab your lunch and you go. Wear comfortable clothing, particularly if it is a phys ed day for you. Limit your personal belongings when you come into school. You're only here for 2 classes. If you don't need your backpack, leave your backpack home. You really do not want to bring things into a building and then bring things out of a building. You're going to find out that that's one of the biggest changes. If you can do things virtual, you can share paper through the cloud. You can use Google Classroom. It's the same thing with the items that you put into your backpack. Understand what classes you're going to each day. Know if you're going to 1, 2, or 3, 4. Bring your face covering, and it might not be a bad idea to have a backup in your pocket, or if you do have a bag, or even tucked behind your laptop with a cover or a carry case. Bring your own personal pen or pencil. Keep your 6-foot distancing, and bring your school ID. We certainly will be issuing more as the days start off here. So with that, I think this is the end of our presentation. Again, there's an awful lot going on, a lot of moving pieces, and to be honest with you, we really have been preparing for quite a bit. Some of our early plans have been changed and adapted. I'm not positive what September 8th looks like, almost 2 weeks away as I'm recording all of this. So when we do come in on September 8th, what I've shared with you today is what we are looking to do when we open the school. Be flexible. We have an open line of communication. If you have questions or concerns, please contact us. As you are probably already aware, Central Administration has placed a Q&A page for questions and with answers. Your comments have certainly been helpful in getting us to where we are for the opening. Safety is our number one priority as we are here in a brick and mortar setting. We're going to do everything possible to model and to practice the right requirements, by the guidelines of those experts and those people that issue the guidance. So with that being said, I'd like to say thank you again for your time, and we look forward to seeing everyone on September 8th. Have a great day. Go Brick!